video is going to be about importing FTC parts into a file, moving them around and joining them together to create a 3D model of a robot design. So, some really quick things to start off with. Here we've left off from my last video. This CAD tutorial 1 file, which I've already saved. Check out the last video, see how to do that. It's just Command S. But I want to get rid of this part. So you see if I click on this part, I'm actually clicking on components of it. So like the face here, or like this joint here, this hole here, that sort of thing. If you want to delete an entire part, you're going to go over to this browser panel here. You can click on it. You can either choose not to see the part at all, or I want to delete it entirely. So I can either click on it and then hit the delete button on my keyboard, or just undo that really quickly. Click on the part here, double click, or if you're on a Mac, use 2 fingers, and then in this panel, come down to delete. That gets rid of it. Okay, so let's say we are designing a chassis for our robot. So that's the main frame of the robot. I'm going to go into Actobotics because we tend to use the Actobotics channels. And let's say we're going to use a 12-inch channel. So in order to import this part into this file, I'm going to double click on the part. And then you can either open it, which will open it as a file in itself. I don't want that. I want to insert it into the current design that I have open. If I was on a different tab, it's going to open to the tab that you have open. So that's it. Having been imported, you'll notice we now have a star up here. That just means we haven't saved the most recent version. You're going to want to keep saving. Fusion has a tendency to crash when it gets overworked, so it's important to keep saving your file. When it imports, you'll see the entire thing is highlighted in blue. And so what we want to do notice if I click body, it stops working. That's because this is what's called a component. So if we highlight move object component, we can either we have to click on the object here, as I said before, to highlight the whole thing. Say I want to rotate it 90 degrees. I can either use these panels here, or I can actually just drag this. I can either drag this to 90 degrees or actually type in 90 degrees. And then say I want to move it in this direction. I can click on the arrow and then either type in a distance to let it move, or I can drag it myself. Whatever is going to be easier or optimal for you is good. So if this is what I want to do, I can either click OK here or click Enter. Let's say that I started moving the channel and it started doing something I didn't want to, like I accidentally clicked, let's say, here, and I started moving this and I didn't want to do that. Really simple way to get out of anything in Fusion, just hit the escape key. It'll go right back to where you were. If you're stuck on a loading screen, anything like that, just hit the escape key. You're pretty much cop out of anything. It's very helpful. I'm gonna save it really quickly, just so that if Fusion does crash on me, it's been overworked today. This file will save. But yeah, so let's say I wanted to, let's say, insert another channel on top of that. So I don't know what this design would be, but let's say we're going to go to the 9-inch channel. Again, downloaded this off of the Actobotics website. Watch the previous video to figure out how to do that. But we're going to insert it into the current design after double or right-clicking, or if you're on a Mac, clicking with 2 fingers to open up this panel. Remember, it comes in already being able to be moved. So we're going to move it away so it's not interfering with the other part. I'm just going to leave it over here. Either click OK or hit Enter. So I'm going to do OK. Anytime I want to move a part, I can't actually click on the part. You have to click on the item here. Shortcut to move, you can either you have to hit the M key, and that opens up your move. It's just the M, the letter M. Or, I believe, yep, you can double right click or double finger click on the item here and then hit move or copy, and that allows you to move the entire component, which is what we want to do. So, yep, if I had maybe gotten stuck on 95 degrees, it's also really helpful just to type in if you're moving by 90 degrees. That looks good. Okay, so then we want to join these 2 parts together. So let's say the way that this lines up is we screw in from this back corner here into this top corner here. So I'm going to say really quickly, the shortcut key to join 2 parts together, it's called a rigid joint, which pretty much mimics what a screw would do if 2 pieces are joined together and they don't move relative to each other. It's called a rigid joint. So we're going to hit the J key, capture position so that everything stays where it's currently located. So the first thing we're going to do is we're on the simple joint, which basically means, well, yeah, there it is, and we're on select. So I'm going to click on the component that I want the joint to be on, and this is the component that you click on first will be the component that moves up to the second component. So I want this to move to this location, so I have to find the component on here first. So I don't want to connect the piece here. If I connect the piece, it's kind of hard to see. If I connect the piece in this plane here to this hole up here, then they will line up like that. So actually, let's see what happens. I click here, and then, we're selecting the second component here. See, we're on select. I go here. See how they're actually going through each other? We absolutely don't want that. So instead of clicking enter, I'm going to click escape. That's how you get out of doing something in Fusion. So instead, what I'm going to do is change the way I'm looking at it, and I'm actually going to find the joint origin from here. So I can either click J, capture position, and click here, or I can click the actual thing and then click J, and that will be the first, automatically the first component is selected. I'm going to change my view back up to here. This is super helpful for being able to navigate around. I'm always returns you to this view, but I've selected the first joint location, and now we're going to choose the second one. I want it to align not down here. That would make the piece go through this piece. I want it to align on the top. So if I click there, you can now see, as we're looking at it, they've actually lined up on top of each other, which is what we want. If you look at it from the left view here, yep, they've aligned on top of each other, so we're going to hit enter. And what that's doing is it's mimicking, remember it's a rigid joint, so these 2 pieces will no longer move relative to each other. Just a note, to zoom, you're gonna do what you normally do for zooming actually. Move your two fingers either away from each other or towards each other to zoom out. And then if you want to move around two fingers, again, if you're on a touchpad, and then you're just going to drag your two fingers around the screen. You can also use this to pan down here, or if you want to rotate the screen like that. Again, if you want to get out, just hit the escape key. If you want to reset your view, click the home button, you're right back to normal. This will keep you perfectly perpendicular to certain planes, and then this returns you to your default view. So I'm gonna save that really quick. Command S, user saved. You can see the timeline of the history of the components starting to come in here. So inserting the first piece, inserting the 9-inch channel, the 12-inch channel, then the 9-inch channel, then changing its position, and then creating a rigid joint. You could actually watch, that progression, kind of cool. So now that these are connected by a rigid joint, if I click on the 12-inch channel and I hit the M, remember that's a shortcut for move. Again, hitting escape to get rid of that. I can also double click on this and hit move. Now if I move this, because they're rigidly connected, they will move together. So you have to remember that. And I want to exit this, so I'm going to hit the escape key. So yeah, that's how you move around pieces and create rigid joints between them on Fusion 360 for FTC.